On the news today, Enugu Chamber of Commerce, Industry, Mines and Agriculture, ESIMA, urges support for Dangote Refinery for economic growth. IGP denies arrest of minors during #End Bad Governance protest. And on the business news today, Japan expresses commitment to enhancing trade relations with Nigeria. On the foreign scene, New Zealand, Luxion issues a landmark apology to survivors of abuse. Good afternoon and many thanks for joining me on the news today. I am Marvelous Apuamaga, broadcasting live from Enugu State, Nigeria. Well, beginning in Enugu State, where the central station located in Holy Ghost, Enugu, is gradually taking shape, with construction moving forward block by block. Afia TV's chief correspondent Nathalie Uku visited the terminal yesterday to evaluate the progress and has filed this report. Let's take a look.
Like other bus terminals in the state, the site of the proposed world-class transport interchange, the Enugu Central Station at Holy Ghost in Ogui, Enugu, appears to be making advanced strides, but evidently still at the construction stage. The Enugu Central Station, the mother of all terminals, houses two major terminals, the inter- and interstate terminals, respectively. Toby Anifowoshe, the technical assistant on the Transport Infrastructure Project to the Commissioner for Transport, Enugu State, says.
Well, it's moving fast. Basically, this is the mother station for all the terminals here. So we have two terminals here, Terminal 1 and Terminal 2. Now, as you can see, we are doing the second level, that's the first floor level. We are doing the columns. So in no time, we should be done with the columns and then start the roof trusses.
The modern bus terminals are being constructed by the Enugu State government through the Ministry of Transportation. With all hands on deck, construction workers are bent on meeting the ambitious deadline for the delivery of this terminal project.
We are hoping to complete it by December. Just one or two logistics issues. But aside that, we should be able to complete it by December because we already promised the governor, His Excellency, are going to commission this by 22nd of December.
However, the project is not without challenges. For this site, weather appears to have been a major setback.
Well, the major challenge we had before was the weather, because whenever it rained, it was an issue for us to work and the rest. But now that we have a good weather, I think we are good to go.
This station is part of the government's urban regeneration strategy to eliminate traffic congestion, security issues, and criminal activities on the axis. As residents commend infrastructural developments in the state, they remain hopeful that the terminals, when completed, will be what was envisioned. In Enugu, Nathalie Uku, reporting for Afia TV.
Away from that, the Enugu Chamber of Commerce, Industry, Mines and Agriculture has called on the government and other stakeholders to support the Dangote Petroleum Refinery, as well as other local manufacturers for economic growth. The call was made in a statement signed by the president of ESIMA, Sir Odiega Jidonwo, and made available to newsmen on Monday in Enugu State. The chamber attributed Naira depreciation to high level of importation of goods that should have been sourced locally. Sir Jidonwo posited that Dangote Petroleum Refinery is currently one of the Nigerians' gifts that needs to be encouraged at this time when the economy of Nigeria is declining. In a separate development, the Abia State government has disclosed that from January 1, 2025, it will make it a punishable offense for parents or guardians who fail to send their children or wards to school. The Commissioner for Information and Culture, Oke Kanu, made this known on Monday during a press briefing on the outcome of State Executive Council meeting at the Government House, Umuahia. Mr. Kanu said the initiative reflected the state's commitment to ensuring that every child received a basic education. He highlighted that in accordance with the 2006 Abia State Child Rights Law, free education is provided up to the completion of junior secondary school. Meanwhile, a federal high court in Abakaliki, Ebonyi State capital, has nullified the Ali Odefa faction of the People's Democratic Party, ward, local government and state congresses. The faction had a few weeks ago conducted ward local government and state congresses to elect new leaders of the party. In a suit between Enena Linda Uday, 12 others, the applicants prayed the courts to set aside the congresses for being unconstitutional. Delivering judgment on the suits, the presiding judge, Justice Hilary Oshoma, ruled that purported congresses were void, unconstitutional, and of no effect. The court further restrained the Independent National Electoral Commission, INEC, which was the second defendant in the suit, from recognizing any of the officers purportedly elected from the voided and nullified congresses. Still on the southeast region, but this time in Anambra State, the government says all is set for the second edition of the Investment Summit scheduled for November 14, 2024 at the International Conference Center in Awka, the state's capital. The announcement was made during a joint press conference organized by the Anambra State Investment Protection and Promotion Agency, the State Ministry of Industry, and the State Ministry of Information. Speaking at the event, Anambra State Investment Protection and Promotion Agency Managing Director, Mr. Mark Okoye, emphasized Governor Chukwuma Soludo's commitment to advancing Anambra's economic landscape. On his part, the Commissioner for Industry, Mr. Christian Udechukwu, reiterated the government's dedication to ready projects with defined timelines, stating that only serious investors willing to commit financially and deliver accordingly will be entertained. Away from the southeast region, now moving on to the south-south, the Delta State government has approved the transmission of a proposed 936 billion naira budget for 2025 to the State House of Assembly for review and approval. The State Commissioner for Economic Planning, Sonny Ekedonye, disclosed this on Monday while briefing newsmen on some of the decisions reached at the end of the State Executive Council meeting presided over by Governor Sharif Oboruvuri at the Government House at Sabah, the state capital. The Economic Planning Commissioner said the proposed budget comprised 587 current expenditure. We'll go on a short break now. When we come back, we'll delve into the national stories from the national front as well as the business scene. Just stay with us.
You've often wondered, what does it mean to be Igbo in today's Nigeria? You know, what's the intersections? What are the conversations we're having about our Igbo spirituality, culture? An example is people wearing red cap. You know, everybody wears red cap. Are they entitled to wear it? What does Nzenozo mean? What does Igbo spirituality mean? How have we changed as a society over the last 20, 30, 50, 100 years? Every Thursday, 6 p.m., if you want to know more on libations, as I have a conversation with different people from all walks of life whose common thread is being Igbo, or doing business with the Igbo, or living in Igbo land. What does it mean to be Igbo in today's Nigeria? Cheers. And, oh, I need to do this. Let me pour to our ancestors.
Week and another opportunity for us to gist and me to tell you, bring all the spice, all the things that are hot, trending and exclusive on social media. Sometimes I know there's constructive criticism. I know that you know how to quote it. So for the people that don't understand, I want to be like, oh, why are you doing this?
Please, I'm not a cross-dresser. I'm only doing this because of the money on Facebook.
There are some people you need to just tell the truth brutally. Let it hurt them. Give it hot.
Afia TV official, exclusive every weekday on Afia TV.
You're still watching news today right here on Afia TV, and I am Marvelous Apwamaga, broadcasting live from Enugu State, Nigeria. On the national front, President Bola Tinubu has called for an end to Israeli aggression in Gaza, warning that the conflict in Palestine has persisted for far too long, inflicting immeasurable suffering. Addressing the Arab Islamic Summit on Monday in Riyadh, Saudi Arabia, President Tinubu expressed deep concern about the humanitarian conditions in Gaza. Reiterating Nigeria's call for an immediate ceasefire in Gaza, Tinubu affirmed the country's support for a two-state solution where both Israelis and Palestinians can coexist in security and dignity. Meanwhile, the one-day summit was a follow-up to the Riyadh summit last year and was attended by heads of state and government of the Organization of Islamic Cooperation and the League of Arab States. In other news, President Bola Tinubu has reaffirmed his administration's commitment to fostering dialogue, reconciliation, and healing among all ethnic groups in Nigeria. Tinubu made this commitment in a special message commemorating the 2024 Ogoni Martyrs Remembrance Day conveyed by his Special Advisor on Information and Strategy, Mr. Bayo Nanunga. The President declared that he stands in solidarity with the National Youth Council of Ogoni people and all Ogoni citizens to honor those who made the ultimate sacrifice in defense of the Ogoni nation's interests. He reaffirmed that his administration will actively address historical grievances and work towards building a united and prosperous nation for future generations. Meanwhile, the Inspector General of Police, Kayode Egbetokun, has dismissed reports suggesting that minors were arrested during the recent #EndBadGovernance protest. Egbetokun clarified that those detained were criminal elements engaged in arson, destruction of property, and looting of shops and public facilities, not peaceful protesters or minors. Speaking at a workshop on enhancing professionalism in criminal investigation held at the Police Resource Center in Abuja, Egbetokun expressed gratitude to President Bola Tinubu for directing the release of those wrongfully arrested. The IGP also said that police officers caught escorting 100 foreigners, including Chinese and Malaysian nationals, who were detained for alleged cybercrime activities in Abuja, were not formally deployed for such duties. He emphasized, however, that nobody, including any minor, was detained for protesting.
To use this opportunity to correct an impression. The impression that those minors were arrested for participating in the EndBadGovernance protest. That is a wrong narrative. It is not true. The police did not arrest anybody who participated in the EndBadGovernance protest. We arrested criminals who took advantage of the protest to cause destruction to public infrastructure, to destroy private businesses, to commit arson. Those one cannot be regarded as protesters. The police did not arrest any protester.
IGP also warned that any police officer found compromising an investigation would face strict disciplinary action, reiterating that officers who detain minors will not be sanctioned, as they acted in response to criminal activities, not against peaceful protesters.
Regrettably, apart from human errors which are sometimes not avoidable, it has been observed that some unprofessional officers have compromised the investigation department's integrity. These individuals mishandle cases due to incompetence or consideration for personal gain, tarnishing the false image and eroding public confidence. To address this, we are taking urgent steps to weed out unprofessional officers and strengthen our investigation and intelligence department.
And lastly, on the national front, the Female Military Veterans Association has raised concerns about the neglect of military women after their service to the nation. The chairperson of the Board of Trustees for the association, Major General Bimbola Amusu, spoke at the inauguration of Female Military Veterans Association in Abuja on Monday. Amosu pointed out the personal sacrifices female soldiers make, including postponing marriage, children, and education, as well as dealing with the long-term consequences of their service, such as physical and mental disabilities. Highlighting the struggles and sacrifices of retired female military personnel, she noted that many were left without recognition after their service, in the military. Moving on to the business scene today, Japan has expressed its commitment to enhancing trade relations with Nigeria following its participation at the recent Lagos International Trade Fair. The Managing Director and Trade Commissioner for the Japanese External Trade Organization, Tokashi Oko, in a statement, conveyed Japan's optimism for a stronger partnership between the two countries in future trade fairs. At the fair's closing ceremony, Oko highlighted the event's achievement while noting the lower than expected turnout this year due to Nigeria's economic climate. The Trade Commissioner disclosed that despite fewer visitors, Japanese companies still had productive business discussions and forged significant agreements with Nigerian firms. Amid the fuel scarcity and hike in fuel price in Nigeria, Operation Whirlwind of the Nigeria Customs Service has intercepted 67,000 liters of premium motor spirit known as petrol, valued at 84,870,000 naira from smugglers. Other notable seizures made by the operatives include 2 trucks stocked with 33,000 liters each of PMS, all intended for smuggling. Meanwhile, the 2 tankers have been handed over to Nigeria Midstream and Downstream Petroleum Regulatory Agency for further investigation. And still on the business news, but outside Nigeria, ahead of the COP29 Climate Change Summit, the United Nations International Fund for Agricultural Development, IFAD, has urged world leaders to agree on an ambitious global finance goal for adaptation. The new global quantified goal will be one of the main areas under discussion in Azerbaijan, as well as assisting small-scale farmers to adapt to climate change. IFAD President Alvaro Lario is calling on global leaders to agree to the climate finance plan, and to include a specific goal for adaptation, prioritizing the needs of small-scale farmers. He stated that small firms around the world, which are the backbone of global food systems, are the ones bearing the brunt of climate change. We'll go on a short break and News Today return shortly. To stay with us.
Assalamu alaikum jama'a, sunana mai martaba Sarki Abubakar Yusuf Sambo. Ina kallon Afia TV kuma ina jaddada ma jama'an mu su dinga kallon Afia TV. Allah ya taimake su a aikin da suke na kyau. Inda ba yake nemo no Afambo His Royal Highness Sarki Abubakar Yusuf Sambo an ma wace Afia TV na kwado kwandibu.
It's all about the games with our guests, and yes, in general, I like to say it's all about the vibes and vibes only.
Welcome to Afia TV, your go-to channel for excellent news and incredible shows that keeps you IEI, that is, informed, entertained, and inspired. Need a break?
Ladies and germs, welcome to Lunch Break on Afia TV.
Join Choco to vibe and chill on Lunch Break at 2 p.m. for the latest trends in music and entertainment.
Not like I have big money.
Dive into the world of innovation and creativity with Rochelle on Anka.
It means art in English,
where creative minds and groundbreaking ideas come to life. Tune in every weekday at 8 p.m. Do not miss Afia TV Official, your perfect dose of laughter, where they discuss what is currently trending on social media every day at 5:30 p.m. on Afia TV.
But in this economy,
The savings will save you, man.
And that's not all. Stay tuned for more exciting shows on Afia TV. Catch us on DSTV channel 254 and GoTV channel 17.
Good evening to you, viewer, and welcome to Women in Business, a show that profiles women, executives, and even the next door store owner, showcasing Igbo greatness to the world.
I started always obsessed with books ever since I was a child.
The stress of always converting naira to dollar and
an incompetent means an incompetent person.
Many thanks for staying tuned. You're still watching News Today right here on Afia TV. On the foreign scene, New Zealand Prime Minister Christopher Luxon has issued a landmark apology to survivors of abuse in the state and church care. The apology comes after an independent inquiry in July reported its findings that New Zealand state and faith-based institutions had presided over the abuse of some 200,000 children, young people and vulnerable adults over the span of 7 decades. New Zealand's Royal Commission of Inquiry into Abuse and Care found that nearly 1 in 3 people in state or religious care between 1950 and 2019 experienced abuse in what amounted to a national disgrace. The inquiry made 138 recommendations, including calling for public apologies from New Zealand's government and the heads of the Catholic and Anglican churches. Meanwhile, the U.S. President-elect Donald Trump has chosen Republican U.S. Representative Elise Stefanik to serve as U.S. Ambassador to the United Nations. Trump, in a statement, said he was honored to nominate Chairwoman Elise to serve in his cabinet as U.S. Ambassador, as she is an incredible, strong, tough, and smart American first fighter. Stefanik, 40, a Harvard-educated lawmaker from New York State and Republican Conference Chair in the House of Representatives, has been a fierce Trump ally. Recall that she took a Republican leadership position in the House in 2021 when she was elected to replace then Representative Liz Cheney, who was ousted for criticizing Trump's continued false claims of election fraud. And finally, on the international front, Haiti has sworn in a new prime minister hours after a fight from the United States was hit by gunfire. Alexis Dia was formally appointed on Monday by Presidential Council after it fired the Caribbean nation's interim Prime Minister Gary Conille. The new prime minister said during the swearing-in ceremony that his first step was to restore security across Haiti. His appointment comes as Haiti has been going through political turmoil since the 2021 assassination of its then-president, Jovenel Moïse. Away from the international front, I'm moving on to the busy world of sports today. Ahead of the start of the 2024 and 2025 Champions League and Confederation Cup, CAF has set rules for the participating team, the Nigeria's representative, Eyimba International, as the competition is set to take off at the end of the month. CAF, under Patrice Motsepe, is ordered the clubs to adhere strictly to the rules of the competition. According to the rules of match loss and elimination, teams that commit fraud on a player's identity or allow a suspended or non-qualified player to participate in a match will lose the match and be eliminated from the competition. Also, a team official who receives 2 cautions will be automatically suspended from the next match, as a player who is sent off the field by the referee in 3 matches of the same competition will automatically be suspended for the rest of the competition. And lastly, Cheetahs of Benin Republic head coach Gernot Royer has received 18 players in camp ahead of their 2025 African Nations Cup qualifier against Nigeria in Abidjan. The West African neighbors will host the 3-time African champions on Thursday in the match day 5 fixture of the qualifier. Now, 10 players hit the camp on Sunday, while another 8, led by Captain Steve Moni, Jodel Dosu, and David Kiki, arrived yesterday. Meanwhile, Benin are second in Group D with 6 points, but they cannot afford to sleep because they are being chased by third-place Rwanda, who have garnered 5 points and will face already eliminated Libya on Thursday. We're going to short break, and when we come back, we'll dive right into our discussion for today. Please stay with us.
What are your thoughts on the spate of sex for grades in Nigerian universities?
This very issue of owing salary should be criminalized.
How can they amplify their voices?
People don't have evidence.
You want to get to know about it? Have to stay tuned right here on Afia Morning Show to get the pulse and the feel of that.
Hey ladies, join us on Gyna Plus every Wednesday at 6 p.m. right here on Afia TV, DSTV channel 254 and GoTV channel 17, where we will delve into health issues affecting girls and women in society.
Breastfeeding doesn't even cause breastfeeding. The frequency of breastfeeding means the approach you take to make sure that your well-being is maintained.
Welcome to the latest and most amazing show on here. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Lunch Break.
You don't sing along.
I did single.
For real.
You're not a backup singer.
You've often wondered, what does it mean to be Igbo in today's Nigeria? You know, what's the intersections? What are the conversations we're having about our Igbo spirituality, culture? An example is people wearing red cap. You know, everybody wears red cap. Are they entitled to wear it? What does Nzenozo mean? What does Igbo spirituality mean? How have we changed as a society over the last 20, 30, 50, 100 years? Every Thursday, 6 p.m., if you want to know more on libations, as I have a conversation with different people from all walks of life who common thread is being Igbo, or doing business with Igbo, or living in Igbo land. What does it mean to be Igbo in today's Nigeria? Cheers. And, oh, I need to do this. Let me pour to our ancestors.
Week and another opportunity for us to gist and me to tell you, bring all the spice, all the things that are hot, trending and exclusive on social media. Sometimes I know there's constructive criticism. I know that you know how to quote it. So for the people that don't understand, I want to be like, oh, why are you doing this?
Please, I'm not a cross-dresser. I'm only doing this because of the money on Facebook.
There are some people you need to just tell the truth brutally. Let it hurt them. Give it hot.
Afia TV official, exclusive every weekday on Afia TV.
Assalamu alaikum jama'a, sunana mai martaba Sarki Abubakar Yusuf Sambo. Ina kallon Afia TV kuma ina jaddada ma jama'an mu su dinga kallon Afia TV. Allah ya taimake su a aikin da suke na kyau. Inda ba yake ne mu no Afambo His Royal Highness Sarki Abubakar Yusuf Sambo. An ma watch Afia TV na kwado kwan dibu. Inda ba ni ne ka hana watch Afia TV. Afia TV na mo fino. Dalono.
Time check is 2 p.m. and it's time for us to vibe, chill, and relax. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Lunch Break on Afia TV. So Lunch Break is all about the music, it's all about fun, it's all about entertainment, it's all about entertaining gossip and stories from social, it's all about the latest trends, it's about what's lit, it's all about the games with our guests, and yes, in general, I like to say it's all about the vibes and vibes only.
Welcome to Afia TV, your go-to channel for excellent news and incredible shows that keeps you IEI, that is, informed, entertained, and inspired. Need a break?
Ladies and germs, welcome to Lunch Break on Afia TV.
Join Choco to vibe and chill on Lunch Break at 2 p.m. for the latest trends in music and entertainment.
Not like I have big money.
Dive into the world of innovation and creativity with Rochelle on Anka.
It means art in English.
Where creative minds and groundbreaking ideas come to life. Tune in every weekday at 8 p.m. Do not miss Afia TV Official, your perfect dose of laughter, where they discuss what is currently trending on social media every day at 5:30 p.m. on Afia TV.
But in this economy, the savings will save you, man.
And that's not all. Stay tuned for more exciting shows on Afia TV. Catch us on DSTV channel 254 and GoTV channel 17.
Good evening to you, viewer, and welcome to Women in Business, a show that profiles women, executives, and even the next door store owner, showcasing Igbo greatness to the world.
I started always obsessed with books ever since I was a child.
The stress of always converting naira to dollar and
An incompetent means an incompetent person.
What are your thoughts on the spate of sex for grades in Nigerian universities?
This very issue of owing salary should be criminalized.
How can they amplify their voices?
People don't have evidence. You want to get to know about it? Have to stay tuned right here on Afia Morning Show to get the pulse and the feel of that.
In case you just tuned in, you're watching News Today right here on Afia TV, and I am Marvelous Apwamaga. It's World Pneumonia Day today, the 12th day of November 2024. And according to World Health Organization, pneumonia caused an estimated 2.5 to 3 million deaths annually worldwide as of recent years, making it one of the top causes of death, particularly among young children and older adults. The theme for the year is Every Breath Counts. Stop pneumonia in its track. And joining me in the studio to give insights, solutions, and also set some records straight about this disease are Dr. Chika Anarado, consultant pediatrician, UNTH, and member, Medical Women Association, Enugu State. And we also have Dr. Obijiako Ifesinachi Mirabel, consultant pediatrician, Esu Teaching Hospital, Park Lane, and member, Medical Women Association of Nigeria, Enugu State. You're welcome on the program, though.
Thank you.
How are you both doing today?
We're fine.
Okay, so let's just get straight into it, yeah? I would like, let me start with you, Dr. Chika. Tell us what pneumonia is.
Okay.
What causes pneumonia?
Thank you. Pneumonia, simply put, like in a layman's term, is just an inflammation of the airway where we breathe from. So simply put, the airway swells up. When that swelling occurs, the air sacs where gas exchange occurs is filled with a lot of fluid, and sometimes, in extreme of cases, pus. I know what that means. Gas exchange is going to be impaired, breathing is going to be difficult, And these are the things you see in a child who presents with pneumonia.
Okay, so what are the causes? What causes these things? Because I know growing up, my mom would tell you, or many people, let me leave my mom out of this. Many people would tell you pneumonia is caused by cold. When you lie on bare floor or all of that, you tend to have cold, and then from cold it progresses to pneumonia. Is that true?
No.
So what causes pneumonia, please?
So a lot of people go about with that misinformation, or let me call it misconception.
Okay.
Cold doesn't cause pneumonia directly. Yes, they will tell you when you sleep on the bare floor, when you expose yourself to cold, when you don't wear your clothing to go to bed. No, those are not the causes of pneumonia. Rather, pneumonia can be caused by infective and non-infective causes. On the infective causes, we talk about the microorganisms, the germs, the bacteria, the viruses, fungal. That's on one hand. Then on the other hand, the non-infectious causes, there's something called aspiration. Maybe when someone for some reason takes in what is not supposed to go into the airway. Remember, the airway and where we eat are closely related. So if for any reason someone's airway is not well guarded and they aspirate, maybe they take in things that are supposed to be in the stomach, they come into the lungs. Remember, the stomach has a lot of acid. It's going to cause another inflammation there.
Okay.
Then maybe for other reasons the child is predisposed to, they can have pneumonia from non-infective causes. So like there are two pathways.
So you said I would like you to throw more light on the infective part of it. You talked about bacteria, you talked about fungi. Okay. What kind of bacteria?
There are myriads of bacteria that can cause. We have bacteria which most people delve into in our environment. Then there are viruses, respiratory syncytial virus, viral influenza viruses. There are a lot of them. We're not going to go into those lectures so that we don't confuse people. The idea is to speak to the common man to know what...
I know, right? But when we're talking about bacteria, so we know where these bacteria are found.
Oh, okay.
Yes, exactly. So I would like you to be exact on that particular area. Yeah.
The bacteria... Okay. Bacteria is found everywhere. So that's why we teach when people are coughing, cough into something you can dispose, because we can get these germs by touching our faces, our eyes, our nose, our mouth. So these are portals of entry. So these bacteria are everywhere. So we want you to work on your immune system. If your immune system is good, if you do the things we don't want you to do later in the discussions, these are ways you can prevent yourself from coming down with this. And like you mentioned in the introductory part, children are vulnerable. Likewise, the adults, their immunity is waning. And then the kids as well. So the kids' immunity are not optimum like we want them to be.
Okay, Dr. Chika, before we get to that point, Dr. Efene she has something to say about causes of bacteria that causes pneumonia.
Yes. Okay, so bacteria that have been found to be most implicated are things like what we call gram-negative organisms like strep pneumonia, Haemophilus influenza. These are organisms that are very common and affect children, especially those under 5. Okay, like we were saying, the myth about the relationship with cold. There is no direct relationship with cold. The only thing is that during cold weather, we have a lot of proliferation of these viruses, which can cause upper respiratory tract infection. So infection in the upper part of where we breathe. So this bacteria are also known to cause a secondary added infection on these viruses. So when these viruses proliferate or replicate more during these cold seasons where we have low humidity, the bacteria tend to secondarily infect the respiratory tract. So these organisms usually come from sneezing. When people sneeze into the air, people cough without cough ethics. So children are more vulnerable. So they pick this infection because of their low immunity, and some of them have low protective defense in the upper airway, which are things like your ciliary muscles or ciliary hair muscles, helping to push out these pathogens out of the airway. So when those things are impaired, this infection tracks from the upper airway to the lower airway and now infect the lungs, which is what is pneumonia. That infection at the lower part of where we breathe, that is pneumonia.
Okay, you know, when Dr. Chika was talking earlier, she spoke about fluid, or let's say pus, accumulating here and, you know, blocking what? I don't know. But yeah, she spoke about it, and I would like to know what are the early symptoms? Maybe when it starts, because it's a gradual process before it gets to the part where it stops one from breathing well. So how do we detect it early?
Okay.
Yes, Dr.
Okay, so
Fisnachi.
the symptom, WHO has made it very simple such that even the health professional at the primary health care can pick up these children early enough. So the simple definition is when the child has cough and is breathing fast. But there are other symptoms that you can see in the child that has pneumonia. They can have catarrh, which can either block their nostrils or it can be running, okay? These children can become breathless because just like we said, when fluid fills that airway, it makes it stiff. So air cannot easily come in. The child now breathes with difficulty and there's decreased oxygen in the blood. So the body tries to compensate for that by making the child to breathe in faster so that more oxygen can be taken in. Okay, so there's difficulty. The child finds it difficult in breathing or also has fast breathing. Because of the nasal congestion, some children will refuse to eat. They become very irritable. The older ones will complain of headache. Okay, then the bigger ones can also complain of chest pain when they breathe in. Then for the cough, most of it is wet cough. So the bigger child will be able to bring out that cough. We call it sputum. Some of it can be yellowish, some can be greenish, depending on the organism that is actually causing this infection. Okay.
So how do we differentiate between this pneumonia's catarrh and the usual catarrh? Because when you have catarrh, you definitely have headache. Sometimes you even get eye pain. You know, just you feel very unease. So how do we differentiate between pneumonia catarrh and the normal catarrh?
Okay. So what we say, there's really no anatomical boundary, or we just have anatomical boundaries that separate the upper airway from the lower airway, but physiologically they function as one. So pneumonia will just occur when that's the upper airway defense has been defeated and this organism go down. So for the normal catarrh, the child just have more blockage. But once it tracks down, you will find this child finding it very difficult to breathe. The child starts breathing fast because that's where you have more problems with oxygenation, the ventilation perfusion. That's the breathing in and then oxygen moving from the air into the blood is affected. So what really differentiates it more is that difficulty in breathing. Okay? You see the child, maybe the nostrils will be moving in and out. Okay. You see the leg maybe tugging in. You see the chest, the side of the chest going in and out. Even the lower chest, this front part will be going in and out. There's retraction, indrawing. Okay.
So when you start noticing, maybe when a child has catarrh, you would check all these things. You look up for all these things. Yes, now, I want to know, children don't tell you how they feel. They don't know how to express themselves, right? Unlike adults that can tell you, yes. So if a child is having catarrh and you want to, okay, this might not be the usual catarrh, you check here. But it's
that's why we are actually here.
Yeah.
Yes, like you rightly said, illnesses mimic each other. Okay? There's a limit to what mom can do at home or dad can do at home. You can give antipyretics, paracetamol if there's fever. What we're saying is when this thing sets in, please seek a health advice.
Okay.
We are the ones who will notice this. The healthcare workers are the ones who will notice this and tell you what exactly are we dealing with. And remember our theme for today. Every breath counts. Stop pneumonia in its tracks. Simply means the child's breathing will tell you a story. Is your child deviating from the norm? If the answer is yes, we want to stop it in the track. Remember, the airway starts from the nose down. You want to stop that before it goes down to the airway.
So what's the would I call it a first aid treatment?
A home remedy.
Exactly. Because not everyone, we know what we're experiencing in this country now. Not everyone has the money to go to the hospital. Hospital is now luxury for some people. So if I experience this thing as a mother in my child, what is the first go-to?
The first, the most you can do at home is just to stop the fever. You can't help the rest. Come to the hospital. As little as maybe 2,000 to 3,000 naira, we can stop this. Because pneumonia has classifications. We want to manage you as a mild pneumonia. We don't want it to progress to moderate severe. At the point you now have to need oxygen for support or admission. Pneumonia is treatable. That is why we are here. It's preventable. And we're going to talk about the preventive measures.
In younger children and older adults.
Okay. Well, I said in the opening statement, children's immunity are still forming. Remember, when they give birth to them, they are still trying to build their immunity from the exposures they have, from immunizations that we give them, and then with time, they get to become like adults. If you notice how kids fall sick, they become very, very ill. By the time they begin to get up to 5, 4, 5, 10, the frequency of hospital visitations declines. Then by the time they get to adulthood, from 65 up, treat them like kids. The immunity begins to wane. So therefore, the same way kids are going to manifest, that's the same way adults are going to manifest. Because now the immunity is waning. You need to support them. You need to be extra careful. You need to be fast and act so that things that could be avoided could be avoided.
Okay, let's talk about World Pneumonia Day. What's done on this day? Yes, Dr. Fisinachi.
So, World Pneumonia Day is usually celebrated on the 12th of November every year. So it's a global celebration. And most health organizations, including the organization that is sponsoring us as our parent body, Pediatric Association of Nigeria, and also Medical Women Association of Nigeria, both at the national and the state level. We are from Enugu State Branch, okay, celebrate this day. What we do today is to create awareness about the symptoms and signs of pneumonia, okay, about the symptoms and signs of pneumonia, okay, and what causes those symptoms and signs and how to treat and prevent this. Just like the theme of this year, it says every breath counts, which shows us the critical importance of breathing, okay, the critical importance of every breath, okay, and the impact pneumonia, the critical impact pneumonia has on this breath. So every breath should be precious, but pneumonia makes breathing a struggle. So we are here to pinpoint the early signs and symptoms of pneumonia so that parents can easily pick this early, and also to teach them how to prevent this, which we should be talking about it in a jiffy. So teach them how to prevent this, and also to present to the hospital early enough so that these symptoms can be handled and prevent the complications of pneumonia, and also prevent our children from dying from a preventive cause such as pneumonia.
So you go out to different societies to talk to them about pneumonia?
Actually, it's like a whole lot of events.
Okay.
We're here at the TP station. We've had some radio stations as well. We still talk to them at the hospital. We'll go to the grassroots as well, because the people we're even aiming to speak to, they don't have television. So we need to speak to them still. So we have a lot of activities. Outreaches are still ongoing. So it's not just a one-off thing. We want to... Our message is advocacy, early intervention, prevention, so that we can stop this. Pneumonia, it will interest you to know, is the leading cause of death.
Sure.
Yes. And if I'm to drive home that point, every 40 to 50 seconds, a child dies from pneumonia. That's the only one's message, so that you understand what this is. We want to lend the voice to this epidemic. We need to stop it. We need the government to please come in, help. Funds need to be channeled in. Vaccination, healthcare insurance, it's not working. Economic situation is getting more and more difficult. If I ask you one question, I know you may not be able to give me an answer. Do you have money set aside for health issues when they arise? The answer is no. You budget for fuel every month. You budget for food.
All right, Dr. Chioma, let's talk about misconceptions before we go into preventive measures. And Dr. Chika, before we go into preventive measures, tell us about misconceptions. What people think pneumonia is that is not pneumonia.
One of the misconceptions we've spoken about is that it's caused by cold. We've demystified that today. The next thing is how it's treated. One thing we want to say, don't do today. Please don't give cough syrup. Some of them come with cough suppressants. Let me explain it for you so that, because this is what I keep telling my patients on a daily. When this child comes in, fever, fast breathing, coughing, calm down, we'll take it one step at a time. These things didn't just come up all at once. The last that will go amongst these three things I mentioned to you is cough, so that we don't keep chasing cough. Fast breathing will come down, fever will come down, cough will go last. But then you see people going to the patent medicine dealers, buying cough suppressants. What that means is that if something comes into your house right now, let's say a stick or something, and I'm tying your hands, you can't fight. So that's what cough suppressant does. It tells the cilia, don't move, calm down. And at the end of the day, those mucous secretions that are tracking in the airway, they will now go down.
All right,
become deep-seated and become what we're avoiding.
Okay. I wish we had more time to talk about this, but let's just talk about preventive measures and solutions. What can we as a people, as a society, do better, to prevent pneumonia? And also, when I say society, I mean we, and then the government. We'll talk about the government, we'll talk about society. what kind of lifestyle should we live?
Okay.
How should we, what should we not do in our house? Because I think it's caused by bacteria, isn't it?
Bacteria, viruses, fungi.
Of course, lots of that, yeah, right? And these things are not found in a clean environment.
Okay.
You get, so I would like you to tell us what we as a people, as a society, and the government should do to prevent this. Yes.
Okay.
Yes, go ahead, Dr.
Okay, so the very first thing we advise mothers to do is to exclusively breastfeed their children. That means giving their children breast milk alone for the first 6 months of life. This helps to provide a lot of natural antibodies that will already help the child to start fighting this infection.
Okay.
Then we follow up this with a proper and balanced diet. When we mean things that contains protein, carbohydrate, fats to also help this child, the diet should be balanced. Then also, we try to tell parents not to smoke in their houses because indoor smoking has been found to irritate the airways and predispose those children to infections of the respiratory tract, not just pneumonia. Can cause other things like even allergies. Okay? Then children, we also try to teach children to wash their hands after coughing or sneezing. Okay? Wash their hands. Then after touching surfaces where some of these air droplets may have gone on, they should wash their hands. Then personal and environmental hygiene cannot be overemphasized. Overcrowding should be avoided. And this is a trend we are seeing now in this era, where we have a lot of schools springing up year in and year out with small accommodation, and they're packing children in spaces that are not adequate for them. So they have poor ventilation, and these children pick because one of the ways to prevent is to avoid contact with people that have the infection. So when their children are crowded together in places where they don't have good ventilation, they tend to pick this infection from their other colleagues, and they now come down with this pneumonia. So the Ministry of Health should look into it, especially schools that are coming up. Make sure that the infrastructures are really adequate for people. Then there should be good housing. Face Me, I Face You doesn't provide adequate ventilation. Okay? Children are also prone to passive smoking, when people smoke in public places where children are there, so it should be avoided. Even tertiary smoking, where these toxic products of tobacco are dropped on surfaces, all these things can get into children.
All right, thank you so much, Doctor. Dr. Chika, just in a minute, do you have any other thing to add to what she has said?
Well, I think she has practically touched everything, but the two left, immunization.
Okay.
We're emphasizing on immunization. In fact, the Pediatric Association of Nigeria is moving in motion. They want to add booster doses of pneumococcal vaccine, even up for adolescents, because this is to tell you how much of a problem we have on our hands. So immunization and then getting to the hinterlands is difficult. Insurgency is also affecting these things. Then we're also talking about, in addition to the smoking she talked about, the economy is getting harder and harder. People are using other sources of fuel as well. And then health insurance, we're begging the government. They should do more. They are doing what we want them to do more, so that health are not entirely paid out of pocket.
All right. Thank you so much, Dr. Chika and Dr. Ifesinachi, for joining us on the program today.
Thank you for having us.
Now, to end the news, here is a recap of the top stories. Enugu Chamber of Commerce, Industry, Mines and Agriculture urges support for Dangote Petroleum Refinery for economic growth. Meanwhile, IGP denies arrest of minors during #EndBadGovernance protest. And on the business news today, Japan expresses commitments to enhancing trade relations with Nigeria. And lastly, New Zealand Luxion issues a landmark apology to survivors of abuse. And that's all on the news today. Many thanks for staying with us. Do not forget to follow us on our social media platforms at Afia TV Official. I am Marvelous Apwamaga. Do have a lovely day.
Hey ladies,